So everyone, I'm Rishabh Bhagvath. I'm from Hyderabad, and currently I'm working as a community manager for Critical Esports. Right. So to recap, this webinar is on how to organize a successful esports tournament. So let's get forward to the next slide. Yes. Okay. Okay. So organizing a successful esports tournament. So first of all, what is an esport? So we know the term gaming, but esports, maybe some people might not be completely aware of what it is. So esports, short for electronic sports, is a what the best way to describe it would be just like sports, but the main tournament, the players they'll be playing online games or video games, you can say. And the other difference is that internet is like plays a prime part in esports. uh for sports, like you can go out and you can play, but for getting into esports you need to have a good internet connection, and of course you need to have a good setup if you want to get really good. So that's an esport, and that's the difference. So organizing an esports tournament requires strategic planning and attention to detail, from choosing the right games to create an engaging atmosphere. There are several key steps to consider. So let's explore what it takes to make an esports tournament a success. So there's a lot of different factors that need to be taken into consideration to create a successful esports. So this is what this webinar is all about. So let's get started. So number one, understanding the gaming community. So in order to become someone who can host a really good esports tournament, I believe it's important to really delve into gaming. The best would be to become a gamer yourself, like get interested in what the community of gamers are interested in. So let's go through this. So to organize a successful esports tournament, understanding the gaming community is crucial. Learn about popular games, emerging trends, and the preferences of gamers. Engage with online gaming forums and communities to stay updated on latest developments. Right. And so the first thing that we need to look into is diverse gaming community. So the gaming community consists of diverse players with varying preferences and skill levels. So what exactly does this mean? So just now, like when we were talking to everyone here in the webinar, some people said that they play games. Some people said that they used to play a long time back. Some people just play on their mobile phones, and some people are like very, very extremely invested in it, like I am. So there's a huge variety of people playing games. There's a huge variety of games also. Like not everyone plays all the different games that are available. Some people are more interested in games like Counter Strike, PUBG, and Fortnite. These are all battle royale shooter type games. And some people are interested in games like Dota 2, Team Fight Tactics, and League of Legends, which are all more strategic games. The exact term, the genre of those games is called MOBA, multi, massively online based arena games. So there's a huge audience out there, and when you're getting into creating a tournament, you need to understand your community, and you need to look into things like what games are popular, and like what the trends are. Uh, Sometimes what happens is a game becomes popular for a small duration of time, and then it dies down. So PUBG is like a pretty decent example. When it came out, it was the top number one game where everyone was playing it. It even got into the mainstream where people who never used to play also got into it. But then it the popularity died down a little bit. So you need to be aware of the trends. Sometimes the games, they might get really big and they have a long life, but sometimes they die out. So next is engaging with online communities, participating in online forums to understand the interests and concerns of the gaming community. So in order to really be a gamer, you need to also be a part of the community. I mean, that is how it is these days. Back in the day, like you play games by yourself, and then you just go about your life. You don't see a lot of people who play games like you do. But now you can directly engage with everybody who plays games through the gift of internet. So if you're interested in any game, you can discover other people who are also interested in those games. There's many platforms. Like here you can see Reddit is one of the most popular platforms where people discuss whatever they're passionate about, they're interested in, their hobbies and so on. And you'll find many gaming related pages on Reddit. And another more direct way of getting connected with other gamers, if you want to find someone to play with, or if you are looking to, if you're a professional player and you're looking to create a team, there's a platform called Discord. Right. So next thing, the next very important thing, and the first thing to decide when you're looking to host a tournament, choosing the right games, right? Selecting the right games. I already spoke a little bit about it, but we're going to get into a little in depth here. So selecting the right games for the tournaments is essential. So consider the popularity, competitive nature, and audience appeal of the games, and strive to offer a diverse selection that caters to a wide range of gaming enthusiasts. Right. So basically, what we're looking for are like popular games, which are also like have a competitive edge to it, and it also has an audience appeal. So what exactly do we mean by popularity? Choosing games with a strong and active player base to attract participants and viewers. So there's two ways you can look at popularity. One is just like the number of people playing the game, just playing the game. And the second thing is like the people who play the game, sometimes they do not have too much time, but they love watching tournaments, or like they love watching streams. They love like looking at what the influencers are doing, etc. So there are few games which have a very huge audience that only comes up, that get active when there are big tournaments. For example, I love this game called Dota 2. It's short for defense of short for defense of the ancients, and they have a annual tournament with millions of dollars of prize pool. And when the tournament is live, you can see that the player base massively increases for a bit, and then it goes down. So yeah, you need to look at popular games, and in order to find the most popular games, you can. It's very easy these days. You just go on Google, or you just talk to ChatGPT, just to for any data. You can just ask ChatGPT like what are the most popular games today, and you'll find out. So the next thing is competitive nature. So select the games that require skill and strategy, fostering intense and engaging competition. So there's two type of games for this category in order to make this very simple. Some games are like you play single player, you don't have any competition, you just finish the game, and you can try to challenge yourself by finishing the game faster, or like getting a high score and so on. But you're not actually playing against somebody else. It's not really a competition, but it's more of a what do you call it? It's like something you do for fun, right? So competitive. Okay, let's take an example for these kind of games. So games like Minecraft, for example, or like let's take very simple like the games that everyone might be knowing, like Mario or Road Rash, Doom. These kind of games, they there's no competitive edge, or there's no esports, or there's no competition really. So that's one type of game, and then we have the second type of games where you're actually competing and you're playing against other people in the game. So games like PUBG, of course, the most popular one, Dota, as I just mentioned, Counter Strike, Teamfight Tactics. These are the games that come to mind. So you need to be in order to host an esports tournament, where the basis of the entire event is competition, like who's the best right now. In order to host a successful esports tournament, you need to have a competitive game selected. So if you host a tournament for a game like Minecraft, it wouldn't be as engaging, because it'll be like just players playing their own game, and you'll just have to check who's getting the high score, and some that kind of a thing. They're not all in a single game, so that's not as entertaining as multiplayer games generally are. And next is audience appeal. So include games that resonate with a broad audience, from casual players to hardcore gamers. Yes, so this is very important. So uh, there's many games these days, like which have a competitive edge and that are very popular, but the audience, they do not like to watch. So one of the main examples that come to mind here. It might not be very popular, but it's Fortnite, where it has one of the hugest player bases across all across all the games. But the esports value of the game, or the competition level, is not as high as the player base is. And the reason for that is because players don't want to watch other people play Fortnite. They actually want to play it themselves, and that's because it's not very fun to watch. It's not a spectator sport really. It's more about it's people are like very interested in just playing. And okay, so there's a few questions here which I would like to address. So yeah, so one very good question. What about people organizing speed runs for Minecraft, speed run events? So yeah, that's a very good question. So of course, speed runs are very popular. They're huge, but the scale is not as big as PUBG and so on. The huge tournaments that you're looking for. If you research into it, if you take a look into it, the speedrun tournaments, they do not generally go over $100,000. And these days, Fortnite events and PUBG events, Dota events, they go up to $1 million prize pools. They're massive, and they have a huge audience. There's people filling up stadiums to come and watch them. So it does have creator content value though. So that part is true. But today we are focusing on top tier, number one. We're looking to go to the top. So anyway, getting back to the presentation, let's go to the next slide. So next is team and player recruitment. So recruiting skilled teams and individual players adds depth and competitiveness to the tournament. Develop a transparent recruitment process and ensure fair opportunities for all participants. Transparent selection process. Implement clear guidelines for team and player recruitment to maintain fairness. So, what are we talking about here? What is team and player recruitment? So, of course, when you're hosting a tournament, you want players and teams to participate. You want them to come and register and play in the tournament and get to the top. So, what does a transparent selection process mean? So these days, what happens is there's many teams which are already very established, and they perform really well in all the tournaments that they participate in. But some what happens is sometimes they are invited to tournaments, and the tournament organizer, he does not make it open, make it public as to why the team is being invited, why the other teams are not getting a fair chance, because some tournaments are invite only and they have limited amount of slots. So it is very important if you're hosting a tournament to make it very clear to the audience that this is the process that you're using. For example, you can list out all the tournaments that had occurred in a certain year or 6 months, and you can create your own point system based on their performance of all the teams, and you can say that according to this system that we've created, all these teams are eligible to be invited, and you invite those teams. Or if you have any other different kind of selection method that you want to go for, that's completely up to you. But the important thing is that you have to be transparent about it. And next, engage with the gaming community. So of course, when you're hosting a tournament, you want many people to register for your tournament. So it's very important to reach out to gamers and teams across platforms to encourage participation. So we are talking about just generic marketing here. You just need to send the word out. If you're working with influencers, just make sure that they're shouting out. You can just post about it on social media and run ads to make sure that more and more people get to know about your tournament, and the details, when they can register, where they can register, when the tournament is going to happen, so on and so forth. So it's very important, obviously, when you're going to host a tournament, that everybody knows about it and has all the details about it. Right. Next, creating engaging marketing content. So again, we spoke just now regarding it. To attract participants and build excitement, develop captivating marketing materials, highlight the competitive spirit, rewards, and unique aspects of the tournament. Innovative content creation. Create visually appealing and informative content to promote tournament across digital platforms. So it is very important to get people attracted to your tournament. So since in 2024, there's a lot of people who want to host tournaments, and there's a lot of tournaments happening for different sections of the professional players. For example, we have a tier one scene where the top of the top 16 teams are called the tier one, and the next few teams who are trying to get to the top are called tier two teams, and the people who are just now getting into the professional scene are called tier three teams. So it is very important that everybody, all these players know about the tournament, and you are appealing to them, and you have to ensure that whatever the content you're creating is appealing to all of them, as in if you're opening registrations, it should be open to everybody. And regarding content creation, if you're creating whatever marketing material you're creating, it should be appealing in a certain way that it stands out from the rest of the tournaments. Like, why is our tournament good for the tier two scene, for example? That you should choose a focus for your tournament. If you're just going for tier one, that's well and good, but it's very, very difficult to start that. So when you're starting off at the when you're just starting off, you're generally you won't be able to expect the biggest teams to participate in your tournament, unless of course somehow you manage to pull in some sponsors, have a huge prize pool, and we'll get to that part. So you need to have a focus. So let's say you want to, your tournament is to improve the tier two scene. So what you do is all your marketing material and the videos that you're making, the content that you're making, your influencer partners to post things like this. You just tell them that the main point of this tournament is that to develop the tier two scene of a particular game, and that creates an edge for you. And more people would be like, okay, this tournament seems right for me, and they'll go for your tournament. So you have to be very careful and decide what your angle is when you're going for a tournament, as to how you want to separate yourself from everybody else. And of course, the next thing, very obvious, very simple, is highlighting the rewards. Showcase the rewards and prizes offered to motivate participants and elevate their experience. So, whatever prizes you have decided on, it should be very clear and very it should be the MVP of all the posts that you're making. That this is the prize pool. That's of course the most important value that you can create for both the players and also the viewers, because when there's bigger amount of money on the line, more people are interested to uh, get interested. Sorry, more people are interested to get involved and just watch the tournament and find a favorite team and cheer for them, right? Right. So the next very, very, very important thing about hosting a tournament is logistics and technical setup. So, ensuring a seamless technical setup and logistic planning for a glitch-free tournament experience. For a glitch-free tournament experience, consider these factors such as venue, equipment, connectivity, and live streaming options. So, venue selection. So, at this point, we should make one thing very, very clear. So, there's two types of tournaments these days. You call them LAN tournaments and online tournaments. So, LAN stands for actually local area network, which is basically where you connect your computers directly to each other without using the internet. So if you ever heard of the concept called ping, which tells you what the amount of time it takes for any kind of communication between two systems, that'll be zero uh, on a LAN setup. And if you're playing online, obviously because of the internet, you have to be connected through fibernet these days. So there will be some sort of ping. If the server is located close to where you live, of course, it's going to be lesser, and things of that sort need to be taken into consideration. So hosting a LAN tournament requires you to not only bring all the players, like fly them out to your location, or manage their hotel and stay and food. So lots of things are taken into consideration when you're hosting a LAN tournament, and this is something that you get to. This is not where you start off usually. Usually, you try to host online tournaments and get a reputation, start building up your team. And once you feel like you're there, then you look for sponsors, and then you really get into which place should I go for, what venue should I select, which city and what place. So that's where we get into the venue selection. So choose a venue with adequate space, amenities, and accessibility for participants and audience. So of course, the number one thing is just to ensure that there's enough space for a lot of people to come in, and that they are satisfied, and they don't have any kind of normal seasonal issues, like there's no rain. It should be like a very well set up an indoor setup, or like you have to be very careful if you're going for an outdoor setup, and just ensure that your participants have all the things that they need, restroom access, uh, food, drinks, etc., etc. So that's where venue selection is very important. And technical equipment, setting up reliable gaming rigs, consoles, and internet connections to facilitate smooth gameplay. So yeah, internet is very very important, because you want to stream your tournament live to hundreds of people across the world. So having a really strong internet connection is very important. Sorry for that, guys. Just turn my phone off really quick. So yeah, having good internet is very very important, because you cannot have any you cannot drop the stream even for a few seconds, or many people in the audience would instantly they'll lose interest and go look at something else. So good internet and very reliable, strong gaming rigs, or if you're going for a mobile game tournament, then good phones, uh, top tier phones which professional players use and are comfortable using. So one thing to also keep in note is when you're doing a LAN tournament, when you're asking teams to come and play, you have to provide them with the best gaming equipment. I mean, they won't be bringing their own PCs to the tournament. You can provide them with peripherals like headphones and like PCs. And if it's a mobile game tournament, many people like to have a few extra equipment that help them out while they're playing on the phone. So these things are very, very important to ensure that you have a smooth live stream of your tournament, and also to ensure that the players in the tournament are not bothered by these kind of things, and that they are very uh, dead set on the game and to compete and to come out at the top. So live streaming solutions, extreme live streaming options to reach a wider online audience and increase engagement. So of course, when you're looking to live stream your tournament, you need to see which platform is the most important and the most used by your audience. For example, if you are hosting an Indian PUBG tournament, you wouldn't want it to be on Twitch. You would want it to be on YouTube, because not many Indians who are interested in PUBG Mobile, particularly, they do not use Twitch. So you need to be clear on which particular platform that you want to live stream your tournament on. Right. So first, let's explain the tier system again. So we are talking about tier one, tier two, tier three teams, right? So this system, the way it forms, so it is not something that a single entity decides. It is something that happens over time. Like when a game launches and when it becomes competitive, and it becomes a staple competitive game. There's a lot of tournaments that happen, and then some teams come out on top. Some teams you see that they are not as good as the teams that are coming on, like top 10, top 3, top 5 in all the tournaments. Like these tier 2 teams, they generally sometimes they give a good competition, but they are not consistent. That's why they are tier 2. So these teams, they generally they're establishing themselves. They're trying to get to the tier 1 position. So it's not something that is decided by any entity that this is a tier 2 team and this is a tier 1 team. Tier 1 teams are simply like the top teams that are performing and that have good placements in most of the top tournaments. And tier 2 teams are very strong teams as well, but they are not consistent. That's just the definition of tier 1 and tier 2. And tier 3, so this is where it's also not very clear in the market what tier three teams are. But from my knowledge, what I would say is that tier three teams are teams that have just now gotten into the professional scene and are trying to compete. So this is the difference between the three tiers, and yeah. So next is how could we arrange a LAN connection and how it would work. So this is a topic which is so deep that it'll take entire session for itself, and I would love to do that. And I would suggest you to also ask Hero for more sessions, and I would love to also host a session on that. Right. Okay. So let's get back to the presentation, and we'll get to the questions later on. Right. So next is sponsorship and financial planning. Securing sponsorships and financial planning are critical for the success of an esports tournament. Identify potential sponsors, calculate expenses, and develop a detailed financial plan. So sponsor identification. So this topic, it's also very complicated when we get into it very deeply. But broadly, I've just listed it down here to approach gaming related companies, local businesses, and tech firms for sponsorships. So gaming related companies. So there's many gaming brands, gaming specific brands these days, like HyperX and MSI. These companies, they create products for gamers. So they want to get their products promoted, and they are interested for more and more people to know about their products. So a gaming tournament would, of course, be a very good place for these companies to promote themselves. So knowing which companies are interested is very important. For example, many companies are already at the top, right? We just talked about MSI and HyperX. These are like they create. They're already out there. I mean, everybody already knows about them. So the kind of tournaments that they would be interested in sponsoring would be the absolute best of the best that have already established themselves. So what you can look out for is gaming companies that have just now launched a product, and they have started promotions, and they are looking to get more and more people interested in their brand. So you do the research, you see what these companies are, you draft your marketing material, you create a presentation saying that this is a tournament that I'm planning, and these are the times where we will be promoting your brand. For example, you can have a gaming, you can have your backdrop where the interviews take place, and a backdrop is basically listing out the logos of all the sponsors that you have. You must have seen it in cricket tournaments where whenever there's an interview, there's like a huge board on the backside, and the logos of all the sponsors are present there. And also on in cricket, you might have noticed that the logos of the sponsors are also shown on the field when the camera is showing the match. So letting the sponsors know where and when they'll be promoted is very important, and it is something that you should put in your pitch. Another important thing to note is that the interviewer or the host, at the end of every section, they'll be saying sponsored by HyperX or something like that. And this catchphrase, it should be pretty interesting, and mostly it will be suggested by the sponsor itself. So yeah, that is approaching gaming related companies. And then is local businesses. So if there's any local businesses at the location at the near the venue that you've decided, then you can research them as well, since they would also be interested in promoting their brand and their product to people that live in their city. So that's another good way, good group of people to look out for, local businesses. And then tech firms. So this is a little bit of a in-depth topic, which we should just probably avoid for now. And yeah, we should move on. Next is expense calculation. So estimate costs for venue rental, equipment rewards, and marketing to create a comprehensive budget. So of course, this is a no-brainer. You need to be very clear as to what your expenses would be. You need to calculate that well in advance. And when you're going for sponsors and when you're making a pitch, it is very important to be very straightforward with them that these are the expenses, and that's what we would be looking for in a sponsorship, right? And next is financial strategy, which is developing a financial strategy to maximize sponsor benefits and ensure budget efficiency. So, of course, this is just what we were discussing here as well. As to you need to create a pitch where you create a strategy which promotes the sponsor and provides them with the maximum amount of benefits. And you also have to try your best to cut down the cost, not really cut down the cost, but be very efficient with your budget and whatever you're planning. uh, that is very important because based on what you're requesting, or what you're asking for in your pitch, some companies might be interested and some companies and brands might not. So it is important to ensure that you've reached the budget after like a lot of optimization and efficiency. Next, engaging audience and spectator experience. So enhancing the spectator experience fosters enthusiasm and community engagement. Provide interactive activities, live commentary, and opportunities for audience participation. So interactive activities. So offer interactive gaming experiences, contests, and merchandise stores for attendees. Right. So if you're hosting a LAN tournament and if you have your sponsors, it is it's like a very good thing to have a gaming experience set up. So for example, if you have a brand, if you have a sponsor which has a keyboard that they've just launched, then having an experience booth where you can actually where the visitors can come and they can use the keyboard and see how they feel is like a very good thing for both like the visitors as well, the people who are coming towards the tournament, and is also like a great thing for the sponsors. So having these kind of activities is great, and having just contests at the venue for any time where there's a downtime, when there's a break, you want to keep your what do you call it, the visitors just engaged so that they're not bored and just go back home. You need to have these things planned, and of course merchandise stalls as very simple. You can have if you can create your own merch and you can just sell that. That is something that's very easy for you to do. And also many brands would also like to sell their merch, so having merch stalls is a no-brainer. So you need to have these kind of activities planned at the venue so that people are engaged when there's a downtime. Live commentary, of course. So this is something that everybody would be having an idea of. So engage professional commentators to provide real-time insights and excitement during matches. So these days it's very common to have a commentary team set up. In esports, they are called casters, and there's many casters. Finding casters these days is becoming more and more easier because many people want to become casters, and there's already like top tier casters as well. So finding some of them is going to be pretty easy, but it's very important for you to select the right ones. So this is the general setup of how uh, tournaments these days they choose their casters. So one caster will be doing the play-by-play casting, which is basically talking about what's on the screen, what's happening on the screen right now. And then there's an analyst who helps him out. So what the analyst does is he looks at what has been happening for the past few minutes, and then he creates some insights, and then he shares that, and then both of them talk about it. So this is the proper setup for esports these days, to have two commenters for two casters for every single match, and then you have a pairs of two, basically you can have three or four pairs of two, and they can be cycling around, right? And of course, once the casting is done, once the game is done, and when there's a little bit of a downtime, you need a host and a few panelists that'll just talk about what happened in the game and provide insight, and they can give you predictions of what might happen in the future and just keep everyone engaged and excited even when there's a downtime. And next, audience participation. So of course, you would want to involve your audience into the tournament as well. So having Q&A sessions, like bringing them onto the live stream directly, like asking them is great, because the people who are watching from home get to know, like what kind of an audience there is, like what the excitement level is, what kind of an intensity is there. So that's great. Like both the audience also want to show their excitement, and people also want to see that. So Q&A sessions and fan meet and greets, of course, another no-brainer. You have a lot of very influential people that many people look forward to and follow them, grouped up in one place. So of course, you want to have a fan meet and greet. This is great for both the influencers as well, the professional players, I mean, and both the fans as well. So the all like planning for all these things while hosting a tournament is very, very important. Next is risk management and contingency plans. So developing risk management and contingency plans ensures preparedness for unforeseen events, anticipate technical issues, participant withdrawals, and health and safety concerns. So now we're getting to the point where you're thinking about like the future. Like you already hosted a few tournaments now, and you already know all the different kinds of things that might happen. And now you're future proofing your tournament. You're ensuring that even if there's some mishap during the tournament, you're able to fix that. I'm sorry. Yeah. So let's go. First is risk identification. So identifying potential risks related to technology, weather, or participant emergencies. So yeah, we just talked about if it's a open venue tournament, if there's rain, or if it's very hot, or if it's too cold. Like you do not want to host your open venue tournament at a venue like that. You have to ensure that it's a pleasant temperature. I mean, you have to ensure that you're putting your dates at that point, and you're choosing your location accordingly, right? Where there's like really good weather, and also just just do the basic broadcast check as to if there's going to be a rain during that point. Of course, if you're doing open venue tournament, do not do it in the rainy season. And there might be any participant emergencies. So have a few people who are very ready to help them out with any emergencies, and that can call the authorities on the spot if something happens. So just like security professional, uh, and just managers who are like looking at different sections of your venue to ensure that everybody, including the participants and the visitors, the viewers, are all completely safe, and if any problems occur, that they are tend to immediately. And of course, there'll be technological problems, so you can never ever, even though like you might be the best of the best, the top tier number one tournament organizer, there might always be any technology related mishaps that might happen. But the way you can avoid it is just get experience, uh, do it a lot, and like just be prepared that this might happen, so we have this as a backup. Keeping that in mind is very important. And contingency strategies. So yeah, this is pretty much the similar actually. So prepare backup solutions for technical malfunctions, participant dropouts, and emergency situations. So participant dropouts is also like actually a very important point to keep in mind. So what if a team drops or a participant drops in the middle of a tournament? So one very easy way to like fix this is that every team needs to have a substitute player, right? And if a team like the entire team drops out, then of course you'll have to disqualify them. Unfortunately, you can't do anything. So you need to have these kind of backup solutions already ready. And also, what you can do is if any participant is having a temporary issue, and they would want to go back and come, you have to be ready for those kind of situations, to provide them with the required solutions, right? I mean, you have to be able to book them a ticket on the spot if they have to leave. and you need to have people ready and set to already go ahead and do that. Otherwise, like it might be too late, and they wouldn't be able to go back, that kind of thing. So these are all the strategies and risk potential threats that you always have to keep in mind uh, before the tournament and also during the tournament. Celebrating the success and future planning. So this is like we're getting to the end of the tournament now. So after the tournament, celebrate the achievements and gather feedback for future improvements. Reflect on the events, strengths, and areas for development, and begin planning for the next tournament. So number one here is of course recognition, recognizing achievements. So there's many tournaments and there's many organizers these days that they promote the top three or just the top one team a lot, and the rest of the teams that they do not place the highest, they do not get they do not get, what do you call it, the correct kind of value or incentive for doing that. I mean, just because that day you couldn't come at the top, you get a very low percentage of the prize pool, for example. That doesn't seem fair. But it sometimes it's very good for the marketing that let's say you have a prize pool of 20 lakh and you're giving the 15 lakhs of the 20 lakh prize pool to the first place. So the first place team will be winning 15 lakhs. That's good for marketing, but for the rest of the teams, it's like really really bad, and it's very scary for them, right? If you don't come first, you're not going to be making a good amount of money at this tournament. That's something to keep in mind. So properly spread the prize pool and also recognize achievements, have medals for participation. For example, if there's a very huge number of registered players, then yeah, you can give out medals and honors of that sort. Otherwise, just properly split up your prize pool and make sure that everybody is celebrated for their performance and sportsmanship. Next is feedback, participant feedback. So of course, collect feedback from participants to understand their experience and areas for improvement. Every tournament organizer should strive to take feedback from both the participants and the visitors who came to watch it live, and also the people who are watching it from home, in order to ensure that you are providing a better and better experience every time, and you're able to innovate and improve. It is very important, and I would say it's one of the most important things for a tournament organizer to do and not neglect on it. It's very important. And of course, the next event, you should be planning for the future. So this is if you're already a little bit of a established tournament organizer, then you cannot just plan for one single tournament. Now you have to plan for a circuit of tournaments, a series of tournaments. Or if you're just planning for standalone tournaments, then you need to already have the next 2 or 3 tournaments planned for at least the basic planning. So initiate planning for the next esports tournament and consider the feedback that you receive and areas of enhancements. So these are what you should be considering at the end of a tournament. And that's it. Yeah. So we have arrived at the end of the presentation here.